Hi everyone, Budget Stark here again. Today we're going to be talking about cost of some figures compared to what some figures cost a few years back. In particular, some of the DX figures. Now, I always talk to Danoby2 a couple of times a week. Well, I like to say that we're good friends and we talk about hot toys, Iron Man, and share information because he's in the US, I'm in Hong Kong. We see things from a different point of view and we always like to have discussions about this. So if you guys haven't checked out Danoby2's channel, check out his link in the description below because he has some really cool Iron Man reviews, videos. Check those videos out. So we were talking about some of the old DX figures because in particular he picked up a Jack Sparrow DX06 recently. He asked me, how do they compare in Hong Kong compared to the US? And I said, I would say pretty similar, but some of the lines like DX11 is quite expensive. Some of the Batmans and Jokers are expensive, but it really varies because the DX14, the Mime Joker, didn't really take off. The DX13, which is the battle damage T800, that's still around sort of retail price. Indiana Jones DX05, that's pretty much around retail price. And he said, I thought most of them would have gone up in value because previously the DX figures were pretty cheap, and we get a lot of comments in the Facebook community, in the forums, that the price of Hot Toys are so ridiculously high compared to the DX lines 4 or 5 years ago, and the value for money back then was so much better. So Hot Toys are being greedy, they're doing this all wrong. So I'd like to say, let's just stop there and think about this for a little bit more of a second. Because collectors, I think, the majority of collectors who do moan about this particular topic, look at it very superficially and don't understand the business behind it. And that, I think, is probably why there isn't the understanding that there should be. So I've got a few notes here, so I'm just going to quickly go through some of the minor things first, then go into the major thing that affects costs. So the minor things that some people may or may not know about: inflation. 4 years ago, was your salary the same as it is today than it was 4 years ago? Have you had pay rises? I think most people have had pay rises, and you know what, when it affects a company, cost of things increase because of salary costs. Expenses have increased, shipping, gas, and the big one is rent as well. Rent in Hong Kong has increased by about 30 to 40%, I think, in that 4 or 5 year time frame. So people who are not in Hong Kong probably won't understand or experience this, but rent is really expensive in Hong Kong, and I mean really expensive. I've seen places in Hong Kong, shop fronts, that are about 15 foot by 20 foot width lengthwise, that cost around 1,500 US to 2,000 US dollars to rent per month. Okay, so imagine the Secret Base or the Hot Toys stores, how much are their rental costs and overheads per month. Okay, so those are the minor things. So let's assume you forget all of those minor things that increases the cost of figures. The major thing is licensing. Danoby was telling me about a good friend of his who's in the US and knows Sideshow pretty well. He was saying the actual licensing cost could be around 30 to even maybe 50% of the figure cost itself. Licensing means you have to pay Marvel if you're doing an Iron Man figure. You have to pay Robert Downey Jr. for a head sculpt. You've got to pay Captain America head sculpt fees, Black Widow for all these head sculpts you have to use. You have to pay not only the actor for the likeness, but also Marvel, distributor, licensing costs, etc. So this is where a lot of collectors don't remember this, or if they aren't aware of it, hopefully you're aware now. Let me give you an example. I was told that Robert Downey Jr. had requested a $2 million to have his likeness used by Hot Toys. $2 million is a lot of Tony Stark workshops, mechanics, Silver Centurions to even break even. Forget about making money, but just to break even, just to pay for his licensing fee. Then on top of that, you have to pay for Marvel's licensing fee. So the cost of, let's say, Silver Centurion, workshop now compared to a DX line for some of the older actors, Michael Keaton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mark Hamill, who did the DX07. So back then, for those older actors who probably didn't have a high demand for their fees, cost much less. So therefore DX lines were much cheaper. Mark Hamill, I can't remember the last film he was in apart from the Star Wars one. He'll probably work for a peanut butter sandwich. And Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously went to politics and didn't do much acting. He probably didn't get paid a huge amount for Terminator 5, but a decent amount possibly. So Arnie, by the way, I'm a big fan. Don't come and hurt me because I think what you do is great. So don't hunt me down. If you do, I'm in Hong Kong and I'm the Chinese looking guy. I'm the 6 foot, so I'll see you there. Anyway, so that's just a quick video to say that yes, things cost more now. It's not necessarily Hot Toys, it's the licensing costs, the actors, the studios that allow the distribution rights, etc. So hopefully collectors will think a little bit more before saying Hot Toys are being greedy or Sideshow are pricing things too high. Because Sideshow, I just want to reiterate, Sideshow, I believe, do a really good job. If they get their release dates right, and I think they are doing that a lot better now with the release dates for collectors, they're pretty much the perfect distribution company for US collectors. Their costs are great, the refund policies, the customer services are fantastic, the shipping is almost free, very low, they've got point systems. I think Sideshow are great for costs. If you're buying from Asia, it's got to be from Hot Toys or the Japan Hot Toys as well. So it's just depending on where you purchase it and the licensing cost that essentially sets the overall price for your figures. So hopefully this will give more information to the ones who are a little bit misled or don't understand why figures cost so much, and hopefully it'll explain why DX figures from 4 or 5 years ago are much cheaper than some of the figures now. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it.